everyone, Amber here. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to day 7, which is the final day of my Bambi's Birthday Bash series here on YouTube. This has been an awesome and super fun series where there has been a new paper crafting video every day for 7 days leading up to my birthday, which is tomorrow. So if you missed the first 6 videos in this series, I will have those linked down below so that you can check them out. In today's video though, to round out this series, I will be sharing with you guys how to create this super cute set of 3 teeny tiny mini albums with a little paper basket to store or carry them around in. So I've showed this before on my Instagram and a lot of people asked for a tutorial, so I thought that now was a better time than ever. So we are going to start with the basket because it is the easiest part of this project. So for that, you will need a piece of paper that measures 5.5 by 7 inches, and you are going to score that paper at 1 1/4 inch on all 4 sides, and then you will fold up on your score lines. So if you are curious, I have all of the measurements and details for this project on my blog that can be found down below in the description box. So now that I have folded up on all of my score lines, I'm going to turn the little squares in each corner of my template into some tabs. So to do that, I just cut up on the score line and then I cut at a slight diagonal to give it that tab shape. Then I'm just rotating the paper and continuing that process until all of my squares have been turned into tabs. If you have followed this series, then you may have seen this technique used in some of my other videos. I love making paper boxes for all types of projects. I just think it's so fun and they are so quick to make once you get the technique down. So I'm adding some 1/4 inch double-sided tape to all of the backs of my tabs. Then I am going to remove the backing of my tape from all of my tabs all at once. I just like to have my adhesive on and ready to go so that it makes assembling the actual box a lot quicker. So to assemble this, I am just adhering the tabs to the inside of the panel that is next to it, like so. And once I have done that for all 4 of my tabs, the box part of our basket is done and ready to go. And now it's time to move on to the handle. So for the handle, you will need a piece of paper that measures 1 inch by 12 inches. So I'm using this hot pink paper because I think it brings out the flowers in my basket. And to attach the handle, you can use some trusty old hot glue that will do the job nicely. You can also use brads. I am just using some eyelets. So I have punched holes on both ends of my handle, and now I am using those holes as a template so that I will know where to punch the holes in my basket. And then I'm just using some of my We Are Memory Keepers eyelets that come in all those pretty colors to adhere my handle to my basket. So I just sped this part up, otherwise it was just going to be super long and boring. So once I have the handle done, it's time to move on to the mini albums. So I have already made 2 albums and I will be showing you how to make the 3rd. So for that, you will need 2 pieces of chipboard that measure 2.5 by 2.5 inches. That will be the back and front cover of our album. Then for the spine, you need a piece that measures 2.5 by 1.5 inches. 1 1/4 inches, sorry. Again, all the measurements will be on my blog. They will be much more reliable than me doing this voiceover. So I am just adding some 1/4 inch double-sided tape to all of my pieces of chipboard. And to wrap the chipboard, you will need a piece of paper that measures 7.5 by 3.5 inches. So I am using the Bloom Street collection from Paige Evans and Pink Paisley. I love this collection so much. It's so perfect for spring, so I've been making a ton of spring themed mini albums with it, and I wanted to use it for this set as well. So hopefully I have a bunch of spring memories to document. So with my first cover piece, I am adhering it down in such a way that I have 1/2 inch of paper left on the top, bottom, and left side. And then I am adding the spine, leaving a little bit of space in between those two pieces of chipboard. And then I will add my last cover piece into place. Then I like to use my scoring tool to make sure it's all smoothed out. And then I'm cutting off the corners of my paper, and I'm leaving about 1/8 of an inch of paper left over. I'm not cutting up right against the corner of my chipboard. I'm leaving a little bit of paper left over. Now I'm going to pre-fold all of my panels over, and then I'm going to add some of my 1/4 inch double-sided tape. You can use a wet glue for this whole process. I like tape because it's less messy and it's super quick, and if you use tape that is sticky enough, then it is going to hold really well. So I like to start with the long sides when I wrap my chipboard. So I am just pulling the panel in the middle first, and then I'm working downward and outward to adhere the rest of it. Then I am going to tuck in the corners of my short sides so that I have a nice clean and less sharp corner. And to do that, I am using my scoring tool. You could use a pencil. And then I'm just going to fold those short sides over and adhere those down as well. Now for the lining of my album, I'm using a piece of paper that measures 2 1/4 by 6 1/8 inch. I showed you there quickly that I stitched on the album base. I do that for all of my mini albums. I just love the texture that it adds. And I also stitched on the front of my lining. And now I'm just going to try to adhere that down nice and even. And then I'm smoothing it out. And then I will just fold up the covers of my album and crease them so that I have the base done and ready to go. So now that the base is done, I'm going to add a hole and a jump ring to the spine of my album. If you are opting to add any tassels or charms to the base of your albums, then I highly recommend doing this part now. Once the pages of the album are set inside the book, it's going to be much harder to do that. So I have just added an eyelet and a jump ring so that I can add some tassels and charms to that later. And now it's time to work on the pages. So you will need 4 pieces of paper for the pages, and they all get smaller in size as you go on. I'm showing you here how that works. We're going to start with the largest piece, which measures 2 1/4 by 5 1/2 inches. And on the 5 1/2 inch side, we are scoring at 2 1/4 and 3 1/4. Then we will just fold up on those score lines, and you will see here how that will become a page. Now for the next page, you will need a piece that measures 2 1/4 by 5 1/4. And on the 5 1/4 inch side, we are scoring that at 2 1/4 and 3 inches. And that will just tuck into the first page. For the third page, we need a piece that measures 2 1/4 by 5. And on the 5 inch side, we are going to score it at 2 1/4 and 2 3/4 inch. And for the last page, we need a piece that measures 2 1/4 by 4 3/4. And on the 4 3/4 inch side, we are scoring at 2 1/4 and 2 1/2 inches. So I know that's a lot of information to take in, so definitely refer to my blog for all of those measurements. But I'm just showing you here how these will be added to the mini album. So I am going to use a glue stick as a temporary adhesive to adhere all of my pages together. So I am just adhering them together as I showed you as we were making them. You just tuck the smaller gussets into the larger gussets. And I'm taking my time when doing this to make sure that everything lines up nice and evenly. So I am using a temporary adhesive for this part because I am going to go off camera and just stitch one line with my sewing machine down the center of all of my pages so that they will be held in place forever. So if you aren't doing that, then I recommend using a more permanent adhesive for this part. So now that that's done, I'm going to go do my stitching. And you can see there, I just stitched right down the middle. And now to add these to the album base, I am going to just use some of my 1/4 inch double-sided tape. So on the back of my cover pages, I'm adding 3 pieces of my tape to the spine. And then I am going to remove the backing of my tape. And I'm just going to, as best I can, it's a little bit tricky sometimes, I'm just going to adhere my pages to the spine of my mini book base. So I'm just adding that there, and you can see why adding the hole and the jump ring at the start was better than trying to do it once your pages are in the album. So that is the album done. Here are the other 2 I made. They are all ready to be embellished. And I'm showing you here how they will fit nicely and perfectly in the little basket. And that is how you make this cute little set of mini albums. So thank you guys so much for watching today's video. I hope that you feel inspired. If you do and you do decide to create this project, please feel free to tag me on Instagram at Bambi's Mail and use the hashtag Bambi's Birthday Bash so that I can see your project. I hope that you guys enjoyed this series as a whole. I had so much fun putting together all the projects and all the videos, and I really hope that you guys enjoyed it. I will see you next time for a regular project share video or tutorial that is not a part of a series, and I will see you guys then. Take care and happy crafting. Bye!